Boom.
Biddly, 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 bo. Yes, yes, yeah. Here we go. Ain't nobody down round here. We've got loads to rattle through, to be fair. I want to do a quick shout out to legendary MVG for handing out some super chats and the memberships. Shout out to Mark Bradley, legendary MVG, Ming, and Jamie Tobin. Legendary MVG, Mark Bradley, Ming, and Jamie Tobin for handing them memberships out like it was Santa Claus last night. There'll be no Wonderlap today. It was yesterday, so it's still there if you want to go check it out for all the ramblings and the shit talk that we get through. Normally on a Thursday, but staff do tonight, so I will not be partaking unless I get back at a reasonable hour, and I might just go online see if anybody's about, if you're up for that. But before we do that, we're off back to basics, so you know what time it is. Get that badger in and on and over here. We had to move back to get his greatness in. We've got plenty to rattle through, and I'm aware that we are 53 seconds in on my video, and I would imagine with the intro you're talking over a minute, which is definitely over a minute now because I've rambled on a little bit longer, just to really get them clock watchers in and on and over here, and really worried about, you know, when we're ever going to talk about Leeds United. I'm tempted to do one of these videos and see how long I can keep hold of people and then just actually not talk about Leeds United throughout one of the whole of the shit vids. Granted, the underlap does maybe go into them realms where we barely talk about football, but I think there was enough football chat in there. Who cares? Breaking news. Turns out Just Joe's a Sheffield United fan. Didn't know, but, you know, that's all I'm hearing now, so maybe, you know, spread it like the plague. I know he's a big fan of Chrissy Wilder, so other than that, I don't know what it's based on. I know the bloke quite well. Well, I would say I know him really quite well. I mean, I'm as certain as I've ever been about anything, I think, that he isn't a Sheffield United fan, but why not? I know he calls Wilder Chrissy Wilder, which it does reek a bit, you know, it does sting the earlobes a bit, that, you know, when it's spit out like that. Similar to when people call players by the first name when they don't know him, like they call Jude Bellingham, don't they? They call him Jude, or we've got to call him Job, you know, because it's Bellingham's brother who is Jude, so it's Jude's brother Job, innit? Like, just call him Bellingham, man. Bloke's a dickhead anyway, so here we go. Quick shit vid. I don't know if we've even introduced the Badger properly, but we're in and on and over here now, so we're off. Sorry, Badger, I keep barging into him. Loads of stuff to talk about. I'm going to start with, well, not loads of stuff, but I'm going to rattle through it as quick as I can. I'm going to start with the 49ers stuff. They're apparently in for Glasgow Rangers. Everybody's getting the knickers in a twist about it all, as though they can't have more than one club. There's plenty of companies, whatever, you know, Saudis do it. They're here for domination, aren't they? It's not, I don't even think it's a bad thing amongst, you know, like similar with Red Bull, they've got plenty of clubs and stuff. I won't worry about it. I know everybody says, yeah, you've got fucking, it's a thing, I can't remember what it is. Conflict of interest. It's a conflict of interest. How can I be certain that they're bothered about Leeds United Football Club when that dickhead's over watching a fucking Glasgow Rangers game? It's like, these blokes can run more than one business at once. My voice broke a bit then, that's how emotional I'm getting about it. I also think, you know, well, I know for a fact, I don't even think it's the 49ers. I think it's like some sort of a sub-branch of it or something like that. I can't be bothered overly reading into it. I will update as and when they take over. It literally makes no odds. If the company were called something else, you wouldn't even bat an eyelid, and then you'd find out, you know, if you search far enough, if you followed the money far enough, you'd probably find out they'll have the fingers in all sorts of pies, won't they, the dirty dogs. Ramazani might be getting into a bit of bother after having wound the Sunderland fans up. Be interested to see what happens with that. It's looking likely that, I'm not 100% certain if it's been confirmed with Farke, who will be missing the Sheffield United game on Monday, which is a shame and a joke. Apparently there's a thing, I don't want to get into conspiracies of like whether the fourth official's a dickhead or whatever, and he just can't stand Farke and all that stuff. I don't think it's good. However, I would say it's ridiculous that he's even brought it to the ref's attention. The ref probably thought in that moment, why are you bringing me over for this? What happened? And they're like, well, he ran out of technical box and jumped on floor for 10 seconds and then walked back over. Like, why is he getting booked for that in this day and age? Honest to God, they are on a power trip. I don't think it's an agenda against Leeds United. I just think they're on a power trip. I know I banged on about that liner that was winding the Leeds crowd up a couple of months ago, but he was winding the Leeds fans up. Just go and do your job. You want to remain as sort of like in the background as possible, don't you? But these people don't. You know, they want to be front and centre, don't they? We spoke about youth players yesterday in the underlap, which I do want to just briefly go over. How many of the youngsters that currently aren't in the side, so like I'm still classing like your non-tours, players like non-tour that are in the side. I'd even say Joseph in the next case that I'm about to give. How many of them are going to play next year for us? Because Joseph, if he isn't playing this season, he's not going to be playing next season. I'd have to include like Chambers in that. Obviously, Geldart's going to be moved on. Greenwood's going to be moved on. Harry Gray, if he's not good enough now, I don't know if he will be. People are saying get him loaned out, but we've been through so many players now that don't end up doing anything, don't end up playing in the Premier League. The step up is going to be enormous. How many players do we need? There's been some talks that Ben Davies is coming. We obviously linked to him in the January transfer market. I actually think that's not a bad signing, and we get him on a free. It should be a contract-based thing. I think he'd be, they're on about he can play centre-back and left-back, and that's obviously a place that we're going to need to strengthen. I think that's actually a possibility. He's been a bit out of favour, slightly injury-prone, stuff like that, so, that might be something that we can do. I don't believe in this go get a player from Europe thing just for the sake of it, like, for instance, with Rothwell. If we can pick Rothwell up for £8 million, who sits on bench for just a bit of a squad player, comes on, last 20 minutes, shores things up. He's not going to mess the play up in the Premier League. He's not going to make any mistakes. He's a proper solid pro. I don't really know what, you think you can go out and get better from Europe. It's like, and then you use Tanaka, who's been a beast. Use Tanaka as like the yardstick. It's like, well, we signed Mark Rocker, didn't we? Who, I think we're a bag of shit. Signed McKennie, who's actually gone on to do like brilliant things as McKennie, to be fair. I actually didn't think McKennie were that bad when he got here, but that's by the by, Adams injury prone. I actually thought Adams were decent, but I've also seen a video of Adams circulating on Twitter constantly, which is crazy, about him laying into, I can't remember who it was, we were playing against Scum, and he like lays in a big tackle, and everybody's saying, I know he didn't provide much, but this is Adams all over. Something like, why is Adams getting a pass? You've got players like Harrison who get pelters absolutely relentlessly. Everybody hates Harrison, who actually provided something for the club. We went up with Harrison in the amazing Bielsa era, stayed with us for a few years. Just to be fair, it was just probably the right time for him to move on anyway for the last bit of his career. And yet Adams is getting hailed on Twitter for making one tackle and then being unbelievably injury prone. Tammy Abraham's been linked with us apparently. I've never heard out like it, man. If we sign Tammy Abraham, honestly, do you think we're going to sign Tammy Abraham? James McAtee's still been spoke about from Man City, who played for Manchester City in the Champions League last night against Real Madrid. Granted, they lost, but is James McAtee really going to come from a Champions League game and being a bit of a bit part player for Man City, which he has been this year? He's got, everybody's saying he's frustrated. Well, not everybody, but there's reports that he's frustrated with his playing time. He wants more game time and what have you, which I'm sure he does. But I'm sure he doesn't want to come to a newly promoted side. I'm sure there's better options for him. I'm not saying better clubs or bigger clubs, but certainly better options. I think we need to rein it in a little bit. Talking about that Wilson Isadore guy who obviously scored against us. He plays up front for Sunderland. He's got 12 goals, but nobody likes Peru. But Isadore gets a goal against us. He's got less goals in the league than Peru, Parisley. But, we need Isadore for some reason now. So it's the same thing. This is going to carry on in it for forever, really. Once we go up, obviously, we've got Sheffield on Monday, which will be a cracker-jacker. It will be a shame if Farke's in the stands. If anybody wants to update us on that, whether that has been confirmed that he's not in. I know that if they can't appeal it because they're saying that it had undermined the referee's decision on the day and what have you, because it was only a minor incident, which is pretty crazy. So, but I suppose to some extent, if you do start undermining every single minor incident that they get through, everything will be appealed. Well, it's just a shame for Farke. People saying it doesn't really matter him not being at side at pitch. I'm not so sure how true that is, to be fair, but what do you guys reckon on that? Do you think it matters that Farke's in there? I think it probably get away with it for one game. If we win, everybody will say, oh, it doesn't matter, but ultimately, it can't be good. Can't be good for Farke. It can't, it must be noted that he's not watching. Do you reckon the pressure's slightly off? I think we're in such a good position in general as a club that the boys will just be in autopilot anyway when it comes to like putting performances in. They know that it's a big game. So we'll be all right with Farke on sideline, but I do think it's a miss. I like seeing my man Farke there. What are you saying?
The way they've been, the results they've had, 1 defeat in 13. I've got Muppets from Leeds talking about pressures on us and Bamford and Forshaw and a couple of others, and it's over to you and this, that and the other. They got beat 7 times since Christmas. We've been beaten once. We've set it up from Christmas to be in the race.
Boom.
JackCity, bitch! JackCity, bitch! Hey!
I don't wanna play no games. No, I don't wanna play no games. No, I don't wanna hear your promises. You do you and I'll do me. That's just the way it is. Don't wanna ever feel surprised. That's why I ask no.